Hello, hello. I am Casey Krebs. Welcome to this segment of our cooking show. Today I will be making peanut and sweet potato soup. I'm so happy to share some recipes with all of you. Even the ones who cook all the time at home, it's nice to mix up the recipes that you have in your back pocket. And for those of you that are new cooks, these are some ideas that aren't too difficult to do. Basically, it's a bunch of chopping and adding dishes to a bowl, to a pot for this particular instance. So it's kind of a nice way to start learning new recipes because you don't have to do all that fancy stuff. So I'm happy to share this, and I'm just gonna start my oven just to get my pot nice and hot here. I would use a larger pot than you think because the Swiss chard takes up a lot of room at the very end of the recipe. You can use a regular pot. This is a Dutch one, and you can use a stock pot. Basically whatever you have at home is fine. I just put my coconut oil. Oh, it's already melting, so it's sliding. I'll put it back to the top. My coconut oil into the pot. So it's starting to melt. The first thing you want to do is take your coconut oil, add it to the pot. The reason I'm using coconut oil is it has a lot of health benefits, and also it is has a very high smoking point, so you can turn the heat on really high with coconut oil. If you don't have coconut oil, use any oil that you have at home if it's not flavored. If you do only have flavored oil, you can use that as well. Basil oil might go well with this, but try and use a neutral oil for this. And we're just gonna let that melt. And while we do that, I will let you know the first few ingredients that we're going to add. So we're gonna heat this on medium-high. Okay. And then we are going to add in the onion, garlic, and ginger. So I just wanna show you my ginger before I add that in. So I do a lot of juicing at home. So I make carrot, apple, ginger juice. I'll add in kale, I'll add in cucumber. I'll add in lemon and apples and all kinds of different ingredients. And what happens is a lot of the fiber gets caught in a little basket, and usually you're supposed to compost that. What I do sometimes is I keep it for different things. So for example, I juiced a lot of ginger, and all this really nice leftover ginger fiber. It's just the fiber from the juicing that I did, and I kept it and I froze it, and it's defrosted right now. So that's the ginger that I'm going to use for this recipe. I also have a backup of ginger in my fridge in a jar, and I have a backup of actual whole ginger as well. So this way you can use the most out of all of your recipes. Ginger's amazing for your body. Very, very good for you. And then we will add our onion, which I have here. And my onion made me cry today. So sometimes I chop the onion and it's fine, and sometimes it's really strong. So a trick you can do is if you have bread, just put the bread in your mouth while you chop, and that stops your eyes from watering up. Also, my husband puts goggles on, which is hilarious. So I did the bread one. I haven't tried the goggles one, but he says it works. And then I have my garlic as well. I'm using a bit of roasted garlic and a bit of raw garlic. I had both. Normally I just use raw garlic, but since we have this, I'm gonna use it. So here is my onions, my garlic, and my ginger. Okay. Sometimes when I'm cooking garlic and onion together, I put the onion in first, let it cook, and then add the garlic. In some instances, if you add the garlic too early, the garlic could burn. This isn't one of those instances because we've coated it very generously with oil. We're not gonna cook these too long anyhow. But if you do really wanna caramelize your onion, you wanna hold off on your garlic until later because it cooks a lot faster. There we go. Okay, and the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna get ready my potatoes. So we're gonna stir in our sweet potatoes, which are right here. I normally don't peel them. Today I did peel them. There were just a lot of marks all over them. And red pepper, I used a red pepper. If you don't have a red pepper, use green or use yellow or use another color. We have our tomatoes from a can, so the tomatoes and their juices. So that's here. This is my leftover tomatoes and juices from my last soup. I saved it, I put it in the fridge, and I'm gonna use it today. The broth, and I'm always so happy with my broth. This is the broth. I make my own broth at home, so it's you can use vegetable stock or broth, whatever you want. So I'm gonna pour that in as well. So I always like to put my liquids in last. I wanna coat everything together and really bring out the flavor with the different seasons and spices before I do so. So I'm gonna add my sweet potatoes in now. And if you can hear the sizzling, that's the onions cooking. So we'll add that in. Next, I'm gonna add in my red peppers. Like so. If you have different vegetables, feel free to throw them in. This recipe I invented by basically different ingredients that I had at home. I had different, it changed and evolved over time, and it ended up being this recipe. But if you have something you want to use up, that's perfect for soups. That's the reason we make soups, is to use up vegetables and get all that healthy nutrients into us, especially during this time. Okay, now we'll put in the tomatoes. Okay. Really mix it up. So now's the time I'm gonna add the spices in. So here I have my ground coriander and cumin. We'll add those in. And then we have the cinnamon, salt. I'm using my thick salt again. My pink Himalayan salt, and since it'll all disintegrate in the soup, it's fine. I added a little bit extra since it's not fine salt. And then I also have here is the chili powder. There you go. And I saw that I was I have the cayenne powder. I was missing the chili powder, so I'm just leaving that out, and go ahead and do the same if you're missing one of the spices, not a big deal. We'll add that in and then give everything a stir. Okay. So next we are going to add in the water. So 1 cup of water. Okay. There we go. Our lovely broth or stock. Okay, it's very full. Okay, and if you saw some stuff at the bottom of my broth, that may have been some leftover pieces of vegetables. So what I do is when I make my broth, I cook it for a long time. And then I filter it through a mesh sleeve to get all of the vegetables out, and sometimes little pieces come through. So that's fine. That's just extra vegetables, extra nutrients. So I'm just gonna add these dried mushrooms into my recipe, and it'll give a nice earthy flavor to it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix it up, bring it to a boil. So just turn everything up a little bit. I'll just scoop this out to show you what it looks like for now. So nice, full of vegetables, and we're just gonna add in more as we go. Okay, so once that gets to a boil, we're gonna reduce the heat and cover it for a bit. We're gonna let it simmer for about 10 minutes or until the potatoes are tender. How do you know if your potatoes are tender? You just poke it with a fork. If it goes through very smoothly, that's when you will know that they're ready. Okay, you don't want it to be hard. Have you ever had a potato that was super hard? Like you cook these amazing breakfast potatoes and then you just went in for that nice bite and it was a little bit not done? We don't want that. So that's how you'll check it. Once that's done, we are going to add in our chickpeas. So we have some drained chickpeas here. And then we're going to stir in this jar as well. But before that, I'm gonna just add the peanut butter in now. So when you're getting peanut butter, there's a lot of different kinds of peanut butter you can get. There's some with sugar in it, there's some with different oils. There's no need to get that. I know I do have someone I know who just loves that kind of peanut butter. It's, their guilty little pleasure. If so, fine. But if you don't love it to that extent, then just get the regular peanut butter where it's just crushed up peanut butter. So that's it. That's the healthiest kind you can get. So we're gonna add the peanut butter in. Okay, and we'll just mix that in here. And it'll mix fairly easily with the hot soup here. And I'm gonna show you the chard once it's chopped up, how gorgeous it is. So look at that. Look at that Swiss chard here. Basically, the last step is while that's boiling is once it's boiled after 12 minutes, because I won't be able to stay here for you for the whole 12 minutes. I don't know that many jokes. Is you're gonna add in your chickpeas. You're gonna add in your Swiss chard. You're going to, I have some parsley here as well. That is gonna be used for garnish. You can add that in as well. Mine's dried, so it was fresh this week, but I had too much. You know how they give you those huge bundles of parsley? Or all the herbs, and you only need like a little sprig for your recipe. You can dry the rest of them out. Just hang them, wash them, hang them, like put a little bit of string around it, hang it to dry, or lay them flat to dry, and then store them. But they have to be completely dry or else they'll get moldy. So just make sure you completely dry them in the sun or on a counter where it's sunny. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll garnish it with some peanuts. So I got these specifically for the recipe. You can just use peanuts if you have them. If not, no problem. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this boil 12 minutes or so, and then what I'll do is after that's boiled, I'll add in the last few ingredients. They just need to simmer. So the chard just needs to simmer for a few minutes until it's wilted. The chickpeas are already cooked. The parsley's already can just go right in, and the peanuts are just for garnish when you put in the bowl. And what I'll do is I'll take a photo afterwards and I'll put them in the comments so you can see kind of what it looks like at the end. And you know, there's a great nutritious soup for you to enjoy during this time when it's really important to keep your body strong and keep your body really healthy. You want to be able to fight off anything that comes your way, and eating healthy gives you a little bit of a head start. So thank you so much for joining the lesson today, and I'll see you all next time. All right, take care.